Is what they hear what you meant to say? Hey guys, Chaz, yourdigitalmindset.com. Once again, this channel, if you're new to the channel, is about all things digital marketing. The digital marketer, online landscape, affiliate marketing, online entrepreneurship. If you're into any of those things, you're in the right place at the right time. Also, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and also pound that notification bell to make sure you're alerted when we release new videos, which is every Tuesday and Thursday around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, so back to making sure people hear what you're saying. Here's a quick little story to paint that picture. I've got a mentor who was a high school teacher at one time, and she's a short little lady, and between classes, the classroom was empty, and she bent over to get something. So it looked like the classroom was empty. And a student comes in and thinking the class was empty, just starts cursing like a sailor, dropping bombs everywhere. And then all of a sudden, after about 10, 15 bombs, the teacher stands up and the student is like, oh my goodness. And the teacher, of course, just beside herself. And instead of, she tells her, instead of getting you in trouble, writing you up, getting you in trouble with the principal, your parents and whatnot, I'm going to have you write a paper, which might be worse punishment than just reporting to the principal. But either way, she's trying to help her to learn from this experience. And she said, I'm going to have you write a paper on how you could have, said that better. Of course, she meant, how can you say what you just said without cursing all over the place and using curse words in the classroom? Well, the student heard it as, or heard her message as, how can I use that curse word better? So the teacher got a paper on how to so eloquently use this curse word in so many different ways. So that's what I'm getting at, is make sure that the message that you are conveying is actually received in the manner you meant it to be received. And one of the best ways to do that is someone tells you something, you say, let me make sure I understand that. I understand what you're saying. Or here's how I understand what you just said. Or you can ask them, if you're giving them the message, okay, can you tell me back what I just said? Or, how'd you understand what I just said? Because so many complications and arguments and things of that nature can be eliminated from the very get-go in miscommunication by go ahead and hitting the nail on the head, nip it in the bud right then and saying, do we understand each other? So I just want to touch on that before we get started here today. Okay, so funny story all the way. This is the second part of the two-part series we started on Tuesday about, we asked ourselves two questions. Do we have a digital mindset? And what story are we telling ourselves? So let's revisit what we talked about in part one. We talked about our ritual, our early morning ritual, getting up early, whatever you're doing now, maybe we try to move that back an hour. So if you get up at 7, get up at 6, get up at 6, get up at 5, 4, you get the point. I get up at 4. It's so much easier when the day is quiet and still for you to dictate the day instead of the day having you put out fires by you reacting to it. The earlier you get up, the more in control you can be of your day. And again, you tell the day what the day is going to do for you instead of what you're going to do for the day. Okay, so we talked about getting up early. We talked about hydration, stretching, exercise, meditation if you can, motivation internally and externally, whether it be self-talk, positive self-talk, to listening to your some type of influencer, whether it be like a Tom Bilyeu, Impact Theory, Ed Milet, your spiritual leader, Tony Robbins, whatever. But self-talk and external positive talk can go so far in your life. And of course, we talked about your why. Don't forget your why. Without the why, it's almost impossible to reach the level of success that you truly want for yourself. And here's the deal. Mindset leads to action. Action leads to results. So that's why it's so important to get the mindset right. That's why going through these exercises of getting the mindset framed properly early in the day before you even take on any other distraction is so crucial to you taking the proper actions throughout the day that are in your benefit, that are in others' most benefit. Because when you benefit others, you benefit yourself. So mindset leads to actions, actions lead to results. And it's a beautiful circle, beautiful cycle if you get those things right. And again, it's all about starting it on your terms. Okay, now that we've touched on the topics that we talked about in part one, let's talk about the story we're telling ourselves, which hopefully is one of positiveness, where we're telling ourselves that we have what it takes, we're going to be successful, we are successful, that we're working on ourselves, that we want to be a better version of ourselves. But what we have right now is fine for where we are at this moment, but we need to be better for tomorrow. So we need to be always looking to build on ourselves, improve ourselves, become a better version of ourselves, okay? And that starts with attitude. Attitude is one of the few things that we have that we actually control. There's very few things, if any, other than ourselves that we have control over, and the most important component of ourselves that we have control over is our attitude. And you will be amazed how awesome your day will go if you have the right attitude. And it takes some rechecking ourselves throughout the day sometimes to go, okay, whoa, my attitude is getting way off course here from what I had intended it to be when I got up this morning. And again, that's where getting up early and getting it set right at the beginning of the day, putting all those pieces in place. So when you embark on the day, you don't get blindsided by it. You've already made your mind up. This is how my day is going to go. This is who I'm going to be in my day. This is how things are going to happen in my day. And yes, things happen and things come at us, but that's where our attitude comes into play. We have the right attitude. We handle those things appropriately, deal with them, prioritize them. We can deal with them as they need to be dealt with. And it's all about attitude. Do you have a good attitude? Sometimes it's hard to keep a good attitude, but that's when you start practicing these things, practicing mindset, practicing positive self-talk, practicing, I'm worth it, practicing this story you're telling yourself now, this new story, this positive story, this I'm a winner story. None of this, no more of this negative self-talk, no more of this you can't do it. It's I can do it. I am doing it. I have it. I'm going to have more of it. That feeds into attitude. Again, mindset leads to action, leads to results. And our attitude is the driving force to all that. That is the one thing we have control over. If everything else fails and everything else is out of control, we have control of our attitude. So make sure you're constantly making sure you're feeling it, feeding it, and delivering it. A positive, loving, kind, grateful attitude. Here's another thing, it goes very far, is treating the person you're speaking with, no matter whether it's on the phone, in person, in an email, chat, whatever, treating them like they're the most important person in the world. Because to that person, they are. And that just goes so far, you won't believe it. And I know it's hard to do sometimes, but I'm telling you, it'll go a long way. Treating the person that you're speaking with, no matter what the medium is, treat them as they're the most important person in the world. Every single person you deal with. That's what I try to do. I try to practice. I promise you, it goes back to adding value to people, adding value to their lives, their situations, their problems, is treating them like they're the most important person in the world, and it falls right in line with having the positive attitude. And honestly, sometimes it just takes us looking for the most positive thing about that person. And it might be difficult to do sometimes, but there's something positive about everybody. There's a positive in any negative situation. I mean, there's always a positive. It might be very difficult. Let's put it this way. Anything that's been significantly, it seemed like it was devastating at the time. Once I went through it and got past it and could look back on it, I saw the reason for it and how, honestly, I'm sure you can do it if you stop right now and think about it. Some of the worst things that ever happened to us in our lives, we look at them and those are the times we grew the most. Those were the times that made us even better than we were before that. And if we hadn't gone through that, we wouldn't be who we are today. We wouldn't be as strong as we are today. We wouldn't be as skilled as we are today. We wouldn't be whatever it is. Those challenges, those difficult situations, and back to what I'm talking about is finding that positive in that person. That helps you treat that person like they're the most important person in the world, is finding that positive thing about them. And it'd be great to let them know that. Let them know what that positive thing is about them. Because the people want to hear what they're good at or what's so good about them, because they forget. I know almost all of us are oblivious unless we remind ourselves about what we are good at, or what others find us, what other people think our attributes are, what they think our special abilities are. We forget them. We take them for granted. Again, that's back to being grateful, because that'll help you be grateful. Doing things like that. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, build positive mindset, to get positive actions, behaviors and to get positive results, whether it be happiness, income, well-being, peace, whatever the desired result is, we need to frame those and feed those with positive mindset, to positive action, to positive results. Okay, so let's rehash what we talked about in part 1 and now part 2. We talked about early morning ritual, talked about being grateful, being kind, finding out what our true why was. Why do we want to do the things we do? We talked about, our attitude. We talked about making sure people hear what we're saying, making sure they're actually receiving the message that we are trying to deliver. And that's crucial. Again, that doesn't matter what the medium is, whether it be your email marketing, whether it be letters or phone calls to friends, whoever we're talking with our children. Holy moly, is that write that one down, especially if you have kids, is to make sure they heard what you're telling them. And even if they tell you they heard what you said, it cannot hurt at all to have them repeat it. And it doesn't matter if it's your kids or not, but that right there will help with anybody, but especially with your kids. If you have, for those of you out there who have kids, okay, what did I tell you? Have them repeat it back. So at least they did actually hear what you said. Whether that has any impact on what happens after that, that's a different story. However, it's just crucial to make sure people understand what you're saying. Okay, guys, I hope somebody out there got some help from that. I truly meant it from the heart. Again, what has to do with digital mindset has to do with mindset in general, because as we talked about earlier, digital marketing is just going to be marketing soon enough, and digital mindset is just going to be mindset soon enough. So either way, what we talked about in these 2 videos has application to any and every aspect of your life. If you have any comments or questions, please put them below. Don't forget to subscribe and pound that notification bell to make sure you get alerted when we release the videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. All right, guys. And also, if you want to see what I'm doing online as far as digital marketing goes, make sure to check the link below. You get some free bonuses just for stopping by. And if not, that's fine. I'll see you in the next video. It's Chaz with yourdigitalmindset.com, and I'll see you on the inside. Thanks a lot.